And welcome back to another episode of the Real Conversations podcast. I'm your host, Jacob O'Connor. Real Conversations is a podcast for those dedicated to doing hard things and building meaningful life. We believe greatness isn't given, it's built, brick by brick, day by day. Here, we share the lessons and stories meant to help you on your journey to living your best life. Back for round 9.
9?
9.
Whoa.
Grant Johnson.
Hey, I'm glad to be here.
Isn't that crazy?
For the 9th time. I didn't know it was 9, but yeah, how exciting.
I counted it up this morning, and it was kind of funny because you were coming on like once a quarter.
Yeah.
And then now it's been a full year since you've been on.
Yeah.
Because you've been in dark mode. You've been in stealth mode building.
Wow. Still Latinoless. No, I'm
Still
kidding.
Latinoless.
That would only make sense if you listened to the last podcast. So a lot of just people think I'm strange for saying that. There was an inside joke. Got to be there. Or I've listened to the podcast.
I think it'd be fun for someone, a dedicated listener, to go back and listen to all 9 of our episodes in succession.
Yeah.
And just kind of see how the relationship and both of us have kind of progressed over that time horizon.
Yeah. Could title it Grant's Pursuit of a Beautiful Spanish Maiden.
Yeah, honestly, that might be the thumbnail for this episode. I can Photoshop one in the picture, like over your left shoulder, one over your right shoulder.
Please, you don't have to Photoshop. Let me just get my phone. No, I'm kidding.
In the other room. So yeah, you've been building in stealth mode, and today we're bringing some things to light. So I do think, though, because again, it's been a year since you've last been on. We've got some new listeners. The show is slowly growing. Appreciate all you guys who's been sharing it. Give people the rundown. Who is Grant Johnson?
Okay. Interesting. I'm Grant. I grew up in Wichita. I'm still in Wichita. I moved 3 minutes away from my parents' house because I hate cooking. And so I never have to cook. And I always just see what they're doing. I started computer programming, when I was probably 17 in high school. This was because there was COVID and there was a game called Among Us, and it was making millions, and it was a super fun game. And I thought, what a wonderful opportunity if I could build something like that. I tried and I failed, but I learned, and I found out that I really love what I do. And so I've been continuing to do that for a few years now, learning everything I can along the way. But I've gotten jobs in it, and I work at Koch Industries. I've been there since I was 19 and dropped out of college before that. So I love what I do. I spend a lot of hours doing it, and it never feels like a grind or anything. It just feels like it's something that I would choose to do every minute that I choose to do it. So that's a little rundown on me.
Yeah, that's rare. I don't know if I'm going to keep the same title for the episodes I have the other 8.
Oh, yeah? Am I being promoted?
I don't know. I might still, but in case I change it, we need to have the tagline in there: Grant Johnson, college dropout, and Koch's youngest employee ever.
Yeah, kind of.
Oh, wait a second. What's happened?
Well, I'm not sure if I'm the youngest, because I listened to Jerry's podcast, and that came up on there too. So I was hired when I was 19, and it was certainly uncommon conditions that I was hired in. They have so many people around the world and stuff, but Koch's youngest employee usually had a really good tagline to it. So
I was going to say, yeah, that's kind of been our thing here for the last 8 episodes.
Yeah, well, you got to go change your titles.
I'll wait for the cease and desist to come from Charles. But no, nonetheless, like, you've had a crazy journey because you taught yourself something in your bedroom, like you're self-taught in development and programming, but also in hardware. Like, you've built robots, you built the humanoid who we literally featured on the episode. Remember that?
Yeah, that was epic.
What room was that in?
That was in my old room at Jerome's house.
Okay. Yeah, we featured this robot that you built. You've been working with AI super intensely. You've developed an app. You made haptic feedback vest for the visually impaired.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you've done some really remarkable things in such a short time horizon. Like,
yeah.
Remind them how old you are now.
I'm 22.
Insane.
Well, I love what I do, and it's easy to retain information when it's something that you're passionate about. And thank you for the compliments on the projects too. It's fun because I really enjoy innovating and trying to solve problems for people. One thing too, as well refined as it looks from the outside, there's a lot of things that may, like, for example, whenever we had the humanoid, a lot of people didn't envision that being in my bedroom, and it got creepy. So I bought a tarp to kind of cover that while I was sleeping. So, or even for the Christmas lights that I have outside, it looks professional. And then you find out that the thing's just in an old lunchbox that I poked holes in to keep it from getting wet. So I love what I do.
You're resourceful though.
Yeah, that's one way to put it. Or unprofessional and cheap is another way. But I love what I do, and I love innovating. So I'm very, very grateful that I can spend so much time doing it.
Yeah, we've got a lot of things to dive into today. the first and important piece to start on, because we've started multiple episodes on this topic, we need to discuss caffeine.
Oh,
Talk to the people.
Yes. Yeah. That's another thing that you could title these last 9 podcasts that I've been on is Grant's progression of caffeine.
Mm-hmm.
Because I started off and I didn't consume any. I then evolved into treating myself to it whenever I was in need of energy because it felt like superpowers, and it still does. And then I got so reliant on it. And I think this was about the time of the last podcast that I'd been on where I was starting to consume it every day. It used to be that I started off that I would just consume it whenever it was necessary. And then it was once a week. And then it was 3 times a week. And then it was every weekday. And then it was every day. And then it was becoming twice a day. So I've dialed it back in the last month. It's taken a lot of self-restraint, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
I think about it all the time.
Oh, yeah.
And now I just use it on special occasions. So today actually has had 2 special occasions. So I'm quite wired right now. Obviously the podcast with you, and then Thursdays are just special.
Special Thursday out here.
But it's the day before Friday, and obviously Friday is special too.
I was going to say, this sounds like every addict who says, well, today's a reason to drink.
Then I'm going to show up to AA talking about my coffee addiction.
Yeah. Do they have a CA, a Coffee Addiction Anonymous?
Yeah. No, I had a meeting with this guy, with a friend of mine, Bryce Morrell, and he was helping me out on some stuff today.
Nice.
So yes, I really enjoy coffee, but I am at the point now where it's probably 2 to 3 times a week, which I'm happy with, and we'll see if I can maintain this.
So this is something that I actually want to discuss because it's something that I think you and I are like-minded on. I have a very, I'd say from the outside looking in, I've got a very interesting relationship with caffeine, as you do too. You just described it. Most people would probably look at us like it's not that deep. It's kind of weird, this relationship, how much you analyze it, overthink it. When we started podcasting together, I don't think I consumed caffeine. I know at the beginning of the podcast, at least I didn't. And then I gradually did as we got closer to starting Player Card, the name, image, likeness company that John and I did. I would occasionally do it because it was such a superpower. When you've never had caffeine and then you have it for that first time, your eyes literally open. You're talking about this, like your aperture changes, your focus gets dialed in. Like it is an insane feeling of, oh my gosh, like it's like a drug running through your system, because it is. And it dials you in, you're so productive. But what happens with that is it's a diminishing returns. The more you use it, the more that you need to feel the same amount that you previous felt at a lower dosage. And so the effects are diminishing. And so then you start looking at that. And for myself, at least, one of the side effects of caffeine is it increases feelings of anxiety. So for myself, I was over caffeinating. I was like looking around like everything's about to break, everything's about to fall. Like there's too much overstimulation going on for my nervous system. So then I went from, on occasion to, like you're saying, well, twice a week to, well, today's Thursday, I might as well have some caffeine, and then twice a day. And I always gauged it in terms of milligram dosage. Like if a cup of coffee is 100 milligrams and energy drinks 200 milligrams, I'd kind of gauge it based off how much I'm having a day. I think I got up to like at one point 500 milligrams a day. Like that's 2 energy drinks and a coffee, wild. Which is a fair amount. But also there's a lot of people that do that on a regular basis, but never even considered the dosage or the amount of caffeine or the effects on the system and your sleep. Caffeine really affects your sleep. That's something that I'm very cognizant of. So I got up to this super high peak. It was really affecting my nervous system. I was like, I have to stop. I went cold turkey for, I'd say, about a month. This was probably 3-4 months ago. And dude, it's hard. Every day you're like, I want it. I know if I take a sip, my eyes will open, my focus will narrow, everything will just I'll feel more awake. But like you're saying, it's like, you got to stop yourself. You got to use it in a way that is actually sustainable and that you get the max benefit out of it. Because for me, it is a cost benefit analysis. Like if I can strategically time when I use it, I can get the max upside from it. And I don't want to just use it to go sit on the couch and feel more awake while I watch a movie. I want to use it to get the most benefit out of my work. Do you think about it like that?
Yeah. Well, I was getting to the point where I was just in a bad mood until I had coffee every day.
Yeah.
And then I could suddenly relate to every middle-aged white mom that has those posters on the wall of don't talk to me before I've had my coffee. Or me without coffee is like, never mind, I wouldn't know. So I started relating in quite a bit to that. And then I would take it to, I would drink it in order to just feel at normal levels. But beforehand, when I've had it on an unregular basis, I would take it and there's sunshines and rainbows and I'd
Yep.
be so happy.
Yep.
I'd go talk to everybody and I'd be wired in and complete all this work. So I had noticed out of my personal use of it that it was deteriorating.
Mm-hmm. And when you back off it, like you're saying, because you talked about, you compared the sunshine and rainbows to, I just needed it to be at a normal function. When you back off it, like you have this period of withdrawal and it's difficult, but then your nervous system resets and you're less tired in general and you can actually have more energy without the caffeine.
Mm-hmm.
And so I definitely felt that myself. And then now what I've become really interested in is how can I increase my energy without using caffeine to do so? So today's a day where I'm very underslept. We were talking about that before the podcast. And normally be like, let's just crank a bunch of energy drinks today. But I'm like, what can I do? Let's get morning sunlight. Let's get some physical movement. I did take ketone IQ, which you and I talked about before this, 100 milligrams of caffeine and then endogenous ketones, which is not a caffeine source. It's a fuel source for your brain. And then I showed you this concoction that I made here in this coffee cup. It's got 1,000 milligrams of sodium, so it's electrolytes. It's got alpha GPC, which is nootropic to help with cognitive function and focus. And then it's got creatine. There's a lot of research showing that if you increase creatine
Gonna
intake,
take creatine before this.
yeah, I've taken like 20 grams of creatine today.
Yeah, I had it on my to-do list because it's in there, but I forgot.
That's tough.
Yeah.
But anyways, that's been my new focus is I like caffeine, use it as a tool, but what else can I do to get energy without involving caffeine?
Yeah, absolutely. Makes total sense.
Yeah. So how are you feeling after? Tell the people what you're drinking.
I love 7 Brew, and it's really unhealthy. Or
Said
so
every
it
white
appears.
girl ever.
And Grant. And it's really good. I get this blondie, and it's got 700 calories in it, which is a ton. And I love it. I really do. So whenever I need to treat myself, then I usually go over there and I get a large one. I'm an ice guy in the afternoons or when it's hot.
Yeah.
In the mornings, I like to ease into the day with a hot coffee.
Really?
Yes. And so I enjoy both. But there's a coffee shop at Koch that I go to, and the baristas, they're all invested in my journey of consuming coffee because they've been along the whole journey.
They've seen the progression.
Yeah, they've seen me become who I am today. So they are invested into my journey as well.
So you said 700 calories in that coffee. The question that people want to know is it bulk season for Grant Johnson?
It is.
Okay.
It's the winter time.
I was going to say, this is a benefit then. You want the higher calorie drink.
Yes. And since I have my coffee, my lack of coffee has affected my bulking too, because 700 calories obviously helps a lot.
Right.
Me consuming less of that, I have lost some weight from that, which is pretty much directly related to coffee because I used to have 500, 700 calories a day of coffee.
That's a very valid point.
Yeah, most people don't think about that when they're trying to lose weight, is the calories that you consume through liquids.
Yeah, the calories in liquids, but also the sugar content of it. Because I know that sugar, you can have a pretty bad crash from that too. So that's something I try to be mindful of too and think, because it's not just how do I increase my energy, it's also how can you conserve it.
Mm-hmm.
And so sugar is a good way to reduce a crash. Or if you take sugar in a short period, like for the next hour, because of the sugar in that, you're probably extra dialed in, but then you might have a harder crash later.
We just got to make sure to end the podcast before that.
Yeah. When Grant starts going downhill, we'll shut the cameras off. Okay. So we've hit on caffeine, which is a very important topic for the people. Walk us into it. What is new in the last year? Why have you been so quiet, locked in your room programming?
After we got into the coffee conversation and I was supposed to explain myself before that, I realized that I didn't talk about ChatterBox in my explanation.
I figured you're just saving it as the big reveal.
No, forgot. Slipped my mind.
Oh,
Coffee hadn't hit in yet. So ChatterBox is a language app that I've been building for the last 2 years. I had started with every app out there and I was trying to use it and it was just a way to kind of memorize words and I wasn't actually thinking in the language or improving.
Mm-hmm.
So then I started building an app just for my personal use because I wanted to be able to talk to AI and converse with it and have it put me in situations where I actually have to think in that language.
Mm-hmm.
I then kind of realized that this would be a really cool opportunity if I could make it so anybody in the world can learn a language for free entirely inside of an application. So all of these different features that have come through that has been and through the ideation over this product that started with just me utilizing it for my personal use, which is super cool because at this point we have over 800 people that have used it.
Oh, seriously?
Yeah, which is kind of crazy.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. And it's pretty cool too because I don't know a lot of the people that are using it.
Yeah.
And that is wild to me because I was looking through the different users and just through their email and name, I could look them up and kind of see who they are on social medias and stuff. And for example, there's this girl from Colombia that was learning English or is learning English inside of the app that I have no idea who she is. She has no idea who I am.
Yeah.
And she's directly benefiting from utilizing the app. And that is so cool to me.
Yeah, that's sweet.
Yeah. That really brought it home for me because that's really the purpose over why we're using it. Because the majority over my people. Oh, dude, my MacBook's here. That's epic.
Nice. I'm totally leaving this in there.
I am pumped. I really am.
Grant, I can officially say you're the first guest to have a MacBook delivered live by the mailman during the episode.
Christmas has come early.
That's kind of a flex, man.
Yeah, I am so excited about it because I bought a computer probably 4 years ago for the Vision Vest stuff, and I bought it with just the requirements I needed to complete that project.
Yep.
And then future projects come along, then this one's just now adequate for it. So I've been chugging along with it, having my computer crash probably 2 or 3 times a week.
That's the worst.
Oh my goodness, especially when you're on a roll.
Yeah.
So I invested this time into, I spent $4,000 on a computer, just saying it out there. And this is hopefully going to future-proof me from having to upgrade for much longer, as well as increase my efficiency on how fast I'm able to accelerate the building of ChatterBox. Because I was having to run all this complex stuff on my computer with one that's very old and was not even good for that time.
Yeah. That's an important investment on a much smaller, actually not even a smaller scale, but on a much different scale. I have the same issue with my computer. I got a nice computer for the podcast that I could do Adobe Premiere and all the Creative Cloud suite. And Premiere's crashing on me lately. It does not like the size of my files and the quality that I'm trying to put out there.
Sounds like you got to treat yourself.
Right. So I'm looking at like, what do I need to get so that because whenever it crashes, I'm in the middle of an edit. If it doesn't save, I got to start over. And
that's the
hours
worst.
invested.
That is the worst.
The worst is when it crashes during the export because you've done all of the work at that point.
You got to save periodically. Turn on autosave. You probably have, but
at this point, yes, I have.
Yeah, and you learn your lesson.
And I've got everything I can on an external hard drive to try and reduce the wear and tear on the actual drive in the computer, but I don't know. You'll have to take a look at my computer. Oh, we haven't even talked about the fact that you've convinced me to be your roommate.
Yes. Welcome.
Right, guys, we may be over caffeinated. We are all over the place. You were in the middle of telling them about ChatterBox and how it's different from other language learning apps. We'll just have to hit on that and then keep moving to all the other topics.
Yeah, well, there's plenty to talk about, and I'm sure we'll return to quite a few.
Yeah.
I'm sure coffee will be a returning topic for this.
Tell them how ChatterBox is different from the other language learning apps.
Okay. I was somewhere along this. Oh, yes. So I think the other ones are, they're all right. I think a lot of people too, whenever you have a company, they always want you to trash all the other things.
Yeah.
They're fine. I don't think they're that good. That's why I obviously built my own. But they do fine at different things. I think some of those do well at gamification. Sometimes it can help you memorize words as well. But I think the real lacking aspect over it is the application over what you're learning. Because a lot of learning a language is not having flashcards right in front of you or trying to match 2 words together.
Yeah.
I think that's important in order to be able to memorize the words, and it's great that you can gamify that. But when they lack an application over utilizing these words that you memorized, I don't think that you could utilize it in the situations that you started learning a language for.
Right.
So we utilize AI to complement all this memorization so that you're being put in these situations where you're having to talk to AI at the same level of where you're at in the language. And these different games, because ChatterBox was inspired by this group I started called Spanish Night. You were part of that, where we'd play
a founding member, I might add.
Yes, yeah. Which we'd play games every Thursday just in Spanish. So we'd play Monopoly, for example, and you could only talk in Spanish. Or sometimes it was Mario Kart, but you're blindfolded and your partner's got to tell you directions. So it was inspiration from that inspired ChatterBox to be able to put you in these situations where you're having to do that same thing with AI and soon to be your friends. So you can play these games. For example, I may have to describe the word table in Spanish without using the word table until the AI guesses it.
Yeah. So what you're really highlighting, I think, is the difference between working knowledge and memorization. Like if you need a trigger to get an exact answer, like that is A equals A, like it's 1-to-1. Whereas you need to be able to take the thing and apply it to these different scenarios and understand the underlying principle behind it.
Yeah, exactly. I think part of learning a language is realizing that you're not going to know all the words that you want to use and that you have to describe it at certain points.
Yeah.
and being comfortable in situations where you may be listening to somebody, but you only understand a certain portion of the words, and then guessing, and then you watch their face to see if they act surprised.
Right. I mean, that's what we do in English too. How many times are you in a conversation and you're looking for a word that you can't remember until you start describing to the other person and they spit out the word to you?
Mhm.
Like that's a natural part of the communication process.
Yeah. Side note too, I think that's a big reason why this whole AGI thing for large language models
Mhm.
will never happen with just large language models, because you think outside of just these words. Well,
Define AGI for the listeners.
artificial general intelligence is supposed to, like, there, everybody's got these different definitions of it, and I find it quite annoying. But they, it's essentially going to be human level cognition or
Mhm.
above human level cognition, but it's limited to just these words. But me and you talk, and we have to. Sometimes you're even thinking of a word, but it's on the tip of your tongue, and you can't even describe it, or you can describe it, but you can't say it.
Right.
So that was a little tangent because that always makes me mad, but I wanted to
You
get that
got
out
it in
there.
there, man. The people
Yeah.
have heard it now.
Uh huh. Yes, but I think learning a language, uh, yeah, it requires much more than just memorization of words, and you have to be able to challenge yourself in your brain. And I think Chatterbox is the first one to really do that inside of learning language apps.
Yeah. You put out the soft update this morning or?
Well, this was the first production version of it. So
Okay.
I think the last time I was on here, we talked about Chatterbox, the beta release, and that one was all right. I think if you tried it, you could kind of see the concepts over what it was trying to do, but it lacked a lot of the kind of production aspects that
Mhm.
come with time, that bug fixes. And it was probably a necessary step to get to where we are, but we've essentially rebuilt the entire application to make it a more refined process for you.
Nice. And I think too, it's important to share with the people, like, give us a little bit of color commentary on this. Like, how did you actually build this app over the last couple of years? Starting with yourself, the hours put in, the team,
Mhm.
you personally invested a significant amount of money into this. Like, give all of the context of how invested from all these different components you've been into this.
Mhm. Yeah, so I started 2 years ago. I obviously have a full-time job outside of Chatterbox, and in addition, well, I've spent 3,100 hours building Chatterbox, and that's on the nights and the weekends.
Wow.
So, uh, that it's been fun for sure. I've also invested around 60,000. I think at the point that I was here last time, it was 45.
Wow.
So we found a way to scale that back quite a bit, and I think we've scaled it to 6 languages from that point, where if you speak one of the 6, you can learn the other 5.
That's huge.
Yeah, and we're set at a point that we can scale really fast if needed. For example, I implemented the English course, and it took me about 20 hours. And though one thing that's really important about language learning is understanding the context that you'll be in whenever you're
Mhm.
going to speak that language, because uh, if right now, all of those other apps, it's one course for every single person, but everybody learns for a different reason. If you go to a hospital and you want to speak to patients, that's a different vocabulary set than what you need if you're working construction, or if
Yep.
you're working in a restaurant, or if you want to travel. So we're implementing this feature where you can learn the vocabulary and be put in the situations that will be common inside of the places that you're going to be whenever you've learned this language.
To program something where you have the situational awareness for these like defined situations, you need someone who actually like has been in these situations and understands them. How are you like cultivating that? Or you bring people in that have like restaurant knowledge, hospital knowledge? Like, how
Mhm.
are you guys doing that?
Yeah, that'd be part of it. And everything that's so AI generates a lot of the different vocabulary and the images and different things, but it never goes through somebody that, well, it always goes through somebody who goes and proofreads and checks this. And even if something slips through that's inaccurate, or maybe it's just not good material, then there's a feature inside of the application wherever, if you get one wrong, then you can kind of challenge it, and that sends it back to us. And
Yeah,
then that allows us to kind of crowdsource it and make it so if you have an issue, then that's going to be fixed for everybody moving forward.
that's cool. You mentioned how much you invested, how much you've worked on it, but
Mhm.
like talk about the team component.
Yeah, the team's great. And for example, my friend Luis, he comes over every Saturday, and we work on the app in the office right here. We put on some salsa music and we start jamming and start coding. So we've had some really talented people. Obviously, we talked about some of the people that that speak these languages, that go in and proofread all the different things that are generated from it. I've also learned a ton from a lot of these people, and I've been able to lead a lot of the development and the back end and different things that I wasn't comfortable whenever I started. So even if Chatterbox, nobody uses it or gets deleted tomorrow somehow, I don't think I'd regret anything that I've done so far, because I've learned a lot technically, but also from a business aspect as well. I think you can learn a lot of these things from a textbook, but until you're actually inside of the situation, a lot of this is difficult to retain and you don't understand how it applies.
Right. I think what you're talking about is detaching from the outcome. Like, is this going to be successful? Are you going to make a lot of money? Is it going to fail? Similar thing with any business, with the restaurant, with the podcast, whatever. You want to get fixated on like, what is the result? Is it the desired outcome? But a lot of times you miss the actual benefit of what occurs in the process of doing the thing.
Mhm.
It's who you become, the skills that you gain, the network that you grow. Like all those things are in the process. Even if this doesn't work out, you've become a more capable person. You've got a better idea of your skill sets. You've broadened them. And the next thing you do, if this were not to work, or if even if it does, you move on to something else, like the next thing that you do is going to be bigger and better because you've now raised your level
Mhm.
of baseline skill set and competencies.
Yeah.
Hey guys, Jacob here. I've spent the last 6 years building this podcast, trying to provide as much value to you all as I can. I've invested a significant amount of time, money, and effort into the show over the last 6 years. As you may have noticed, I don't run any advertisements in the podcast. In fact, all that I ask is that you share the link with a friend. Sending it to one person over text or sharing it on social media, it makes a huge difference for me on the back end. I would greatly appreciate it if you could support this work that I do. Thank you. Now let's get back into the episode.
The thing that annoys me of things outside of engineering is that you're not necessarily sure over what's failing or what's doing well. And so these dang people, man, you guys are so hard to predict on stuff. So I found with all these different businesses and whatnot is that you can hear all these different success stories, but there's so many different variables
Right.
inside of it. And then you'll hear a quote over this one thing, but you're not even sure if it applies. And you could probably use the opposite quote, things that contradict for the same situation.
Mm-hmm.
And so I have a very hard time with this type of stuff. Engineering, again, it's really nice because you can compare things directly. You can always see what the bottleneck is or what's performing well, what isn't. People is a lot different story. So I've learned a lot in ChatterBox, and obviously in the technical space, but also just how a business is run. Because obviously for a business to run, you have to have consumers and people then have to value your product enough to spend money on it.
Yep.
There's different ways over appealing to different audiences, and I'm learning a ton about that too. So I, again, I'm so grateful for the ChatterBox experience. I'm learning a ton.
Yeah, I think it's hard with the one size fits all solution, like you're saying. Like you hear so many different principles and maxims for how something should work, and you try and apply it. And you're like, well, is this really the right situation to apply it to? And I think specifically for you, a developer and an engineer, like you probably think in terms of binary, right? Like you program in zeros and ones, so your brain is black and white. It's yes or no. Is this it or is it not? And so to like have highly contextual situations where things are subjective and you have to kind of adapt to that, that's probably not your innate language that your own brain processes things in.
No, I certainly think like an engineer for most things. So a lot of times dealing with people, I always am questioning myself. This is why we built the humanoid. Humanoid's predictable. People aren't.
You've also built a community of friends, right? Because you're looking for a Latina wife. And so what do? You build an app to help bring that community to you.
Uh-huh. You're thinking along my lines here. You're predicting myself. No, I'm kidding.
The question is, did you spend $60,000 to try and find the love of your life?
And is it worth it is the better question.
That should be the title of the episode, spending $60,000 to find the love of your life.
Stay tuned.
Is there any progress in that regard, or how are we looking?
Oh, shoot. Well, it's tough being an engineer because every girl loves you.
Yeah.
I mean, we have such good social cues and we're really good at talking to women. So, I mean, it was hard for us to you to get in. You're my roommate.
Right.
And there's always girls lined up just trying to,
I can attest that. I got to play bouncer half the time.
Yeah. Sorry for that, by the way.
It's okay.
I hope that's not hurting your experience.
No, you're good. Just reduce the rent.
That's funny. So let's see. Is there progress? I started taking salsa classes.
Yeah. In town?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I that's certainly putting me more around them. But here's one thing that I've started realizing is that I think we've talked about this so much that it may be becoming true. I obviously, how do I even say this? I like women, right? And
I'm so glad that we're starting by establishing that.
Okay,
that's the right place to start.
Yes, and it's not that I wasn't into Latinos or whatever off the start. I just started learning this language, and then people obviously started creating the jokes over this.
Right.
And is it coming true that this is my type? Maybe, maybe not.
But as a consequence, you may have improved your appreciation for the Latina community.
That's maybe a better way to put it.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Shoot, dude, I'm walking thin line out
Are you
here.
familiar with the psychological concept of a self-fulfilling prophecy?
Well, from the words that you just said on it, and I'm attributing this back to myself,
Yes.
maybe I am the prophecy.
Yeah. Well, okay, I wasn't saying that you are the prophecy, but I'm like the idea that is like cognitively you say something, even if you're
So many
serious or
times.
not.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you manifest this?
Did everybody else manifest this?
That's powerful. I think we all did.
Thinking pretty deeply.
I've been getting together with your parents and your brothers for once a week for the last year.
Yeah.
Trying to find
We're a big
someone.
fan of Another Broken Egg. We really are.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys coming in. I wasn't even talking about that. But yeah, that's perfect segue.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, that's where we talk to you a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Obviously, I see you around here, but.
Yeah. It is funny though, because like once a week, like I feel like I've gotten to know your parents relatively well just because they're at the restaurant and it's like, oh, let's go. You know, we got so much going on there and it's stressful and whatever else. But then when you walk out there and you see a face that you know is not going to yell at you, even if something went wrong, but you know they're not going to yell at you.
Yeah.
That's always like just a wave of relief.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, we love Another Broken Egg. I don't think we've had a bad experience there ever. So, and we enjoy the whole wait staff too.
I
feel like
appreciate
we've
that,
befriended everybody.
Yeah, thank you, man. Okay, back to ChatterBox though. The purpose of this. You've got this. We were talking about this earlier, and then we went down the a couple different rabbit holes. You have a new version that you've been working on for the last year.
Mhm.
That is that out? Like I was
Yes.
testing around on it, but is it out officially?
Yes, it's
Okay.
out. And I mean, there's going to be things that we fix along the way, and there's a ton of different features that are coming along as well. So, but this is the production version of it, and then we're going to enhance this. The version that came out, we've essentially scratched and rebuilt the entire thing. More things have changed that have remained the same, and it really changes the experience for everybody. I think the version that was out there was very early, and it's definitely necessary, like we talked about on here. But this is the first version where I think it's better than the other applications. There's always room to improve. I think if I'm attributing it to the percent of the vision that I had for it, I don't know how close it is to the top, but I can tell you it's better than the other ones. And it's going to get to that top really close because I think it's already a fantastic app.
Yeah.
And I'm using it for French. I wouldn't waste my own time on it if I was, obviously I spent a lot of time on it. I'm like 33,100 hours in, but I've really enjoyed the experience. And I'm not just saying that because I built it.
You're learning French right now?
Yes.
That's sweet. Oui. You in preparation for this, I took a look at the update. It looks really solid, but you said like take a look at a different language. So I started doing Italian this morning.
Yeah, and how was your experience?
Good. Is it called a love language or dead language?
Love languages are all the romance, which I thought romance was romance as like romantic, but it's just Roman.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I thought it was romance as romantic too.
Yeah.
But so it's got some similarities to Spanish, which I can appreciate.
Yeah, it's very nice. I spent a couple months learning Portuguese. If I'm a 10 in English, I'm probably a 7 or 8 in Spanish, and then maybe a 4 in Portuguese. So,
and I don't know if you mentioned this at the very beginning, but if you didn't, it's definitely worth noting. You taught yourself Spanish at a high level, like a fluency level, in like while you're building this. Like you weren't a Spanish speaker prior to this.
No, I started learning Spanish about 2.5 years ago.
Yeah.
6 months into that process is when I started building ChatterBox.
Which is really cool, like to think about the compounding of your skill set in that regard, because when you started learning Spanish, starting Spanish Night, like I was far and away better at speaking Spanish than you were, and now you are night and day better than I am. I don't even want to try and have a conversation with you because your skill set has accelerated that quickly.
Well, I remember our first couple Spanish nights, and we just had our vocab list there.
Yeah.
We were trying to learn how to buy and sell things, playing Monopoly, and it was super funny, but it was very dysfunctional, and there was only a few people that could put together some sentences, and you were one of them. And a couple of people have continued on through the Spanish night and have graduated into bilingual proficiency.
Wow. There was a couple consistent bottlenecks. Shout out to our friend Jerome.
Yeah, Jerome. Goodness.
I don't even know if we could provide context on that. If you know Jerome, just picture him trying to learn a new language.
Yeah. Yeah. So it was super fun. And I think 6 months in with the progress I felt like I was making is when I thought how cool it would be if we could make this into an app.
Right.
And then 2 years later, and here we are.
That's crazy. So what is the next big thing for you, right? Like this is, if stage one is getting it out and we do the release podcast for it and you have that, the celebration that you had and all that type of stuff. And then a year later, here we are. And that's the second step. What is the next big milestone for you?
Yeah. So we have 800 users on there. I would like to get 1,000 before the year ends, and we'll see how that goes. We're at 820 right now. And we just, obviously we're going to put a lot of of posts and different things into this release. So fingers crossed that we'll hit the 1,000 mark before the end of this year. I think the hardest part of it will be getting to 10,000 as far as adding zeros onto it, because this means that it'll be people outside of my current circle.
Yeah.
Most of the people that are using it now, with some exceptions, obviously, are people that are friends or friends of friends, or have somehow found out about it through somebody that saw one of my posts, or somebody on the team. Where we won a big grant from the state of Kansas, and that'll help a lot with the advertising for it.
Yeah.
And I'm learning a ton in that space, like we've talked about. So I think in the next year, there's obviously going to be some features that are added that I'm excited to talk about, but a big portion of it will be people actually utilizing the app, which I think is very neat.
You've got your first outside funding. Like, that's pretty solid.
Yeah, for sure. It's great. Yeah, it really is. It's super exciting. It's going to make a huge difference for the company.
Yeah. So to get to 10,000, you got to have like organic growth. Like you're talking about right now, you've got your sphere of influence and maybe 1 degree outside of that. It got you to 800, but to go from 1,000 to 10,000, that's not just 10x, like in terms of like, I got to grow this 10x, but the effort and things you have to figure out along the way is probably more like 100x.
Yeah.
Skill sets that have to level up and things that you have to figure out.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm excited too, because I think we'll put a lot of effort into getting people around the world to use it. What's neat is I think the people that can benefit the most out of learning a language are people in the US and Canada and all these different places that speak English, because I think it can obviously change your experience when you travel and whatnot. But the goal has always been to allow anybody to learn a language for free. And I think this is an initial barrier that stops a lot of people from opportunities.
So is the paywall? That's why free is important?
Well, yes, that. And I think the ability to learn a language online. I don't think there's an app that provides that, because I tried them all and I would have used it and I would have been really happy and told everybody about it. But here I am 3,100 hours in a caffeine addiction later. I'm kidding.
Caffeine addiction later.
Yeah, so I think that'll be pretty cool, over getting people in South America and people all over the world to be able to learn English, because a lot of opportunities are behind that initial barrier over being able to learn English.
It
is taught in schools, but the same way that we learned Spanish in schools is I didn't learn because a lot of the reason was I didn't want to learn. But I think most people here don't see a lot of opportunities from speaking another language, because English is a universal language. But if we can make that accessible to everybody, I think that'll be massive.
Yeah. And that's more the impact that you're talking about, like kind of maybe your why or the root cause behind it. But what does the business side look like? Like, what do you need to get to for this thing to make money, for it to be self-sufficient, not need outside funding or more capital from yourself? Like, talk about the business back end of it.
Yeah, absolutely. So what's pretty neat is the way that we built the application is it does not cost a lot of money at all. It's because it's a software, our overhead is the spend that we have on a monthly basis is just like $200 a month. If nobody use it, it's going to be $200 a month. And then with the users that we've had through the beta, what we've seen as an active user, it'll be like a cent or two more on that month for each user that's active, that's using it for about 15 minutes a day. But if they are, and we offer a freemium model, so you can utilize all these different features for free. You just have ads in it, and you can pay to remove the ads. And this will make it so you can pay to remove the ads, and it's really cheap right now. We'll see how the cost structure changes, but it's $2.99 to remove the ads if you do a yearly, $2.99 a month if you do a yearly subscription for it. A monthly is $4.99, because like I said, I want to make it cheap so people can afford to do it. We'll see. I'm that's not set in stone though. The prices will change over time. And I'm learning a lot about the ad structure as well. So for everybody in the US that watches an ad, it's between a penny or two that we make off of you watching that ad. So keep that in mind when you're watching these ads, is that you're helping out ChatterBox.
I said, we're funding you in the back end now.
Yeah, exactly. And if you're using it for about 15 minutes a day for a month, we'll make like $1.25 more or less off of you just watching ads, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, that's crazy.
But that changes a lot worldwide as well. You make more in the US and than you would in other countries that may not be as wealthy.
So at one point you talked about, and this was a year ago, granted, but you were like, I want to move to Spain and develop this app. Like, you want to do it in a Spanish-speaking country.
That would be cool. I think if Grant has a pipe dream, this would probably be it. Is I love Wichita, and I'd still like to make a home base here, but it'd be cool to be flexible with where I could be whenever I'm working on it. So, and maybe be in Spain or Argentina or these different places, but be able to go and work on it for a month or 2
Mhm.
or 3 months in these different places, and then you can come back and be essentially be flexible with where you can work on it
Well, your likelihood of finding a Latina wife also greatly increases
when
when you
you're
go
in
to
a Latin
Spanish-speaking
country.
countries, yeah.
Hmm. You're reading me real well here, Jacob.
I was gonna say, we see something behind this. Why don't we just start a GoFundMe to get you international?
Oh man, no comment.
No
I'm kidding.
comment. Uh, the private jet, you talked about this. We need to circle back on it.
Okay. Well, let's see. So when did I share this on the podcast? Grant has a dream, right? And he would like to have a private jet, and he would like to get his pilot's license so he can fly his own private jet.
Yep.
Because the vision is that uh, maybe I'm hosting some people over, and yeah, you guys want to ride on the jet? And they say, oh yeah, of course. Where's the pilot? And I point at myself and I say, I'm the pilot. And so then we go to, I don't know, uh, we could go to Cancun or something, maybe even somewhere small just for an afternoon or
Yeah.
something. And the goal was to do this by 23. And so I have like 2 months to make that happen. I'm quite a bit behind, if I'm being honest, by about a few hundred million is what I'm,
How much caffeine do you need to make this happen in 2 months? That's the question.
dude. It's a good question. I need to be sponsored by Seven Brew or something, and then we'll see what comes out of it. Yeah, so we're quite a bit behind on the jet. Maybe we'll move it back to 25.
25? I think that's reasonable. If you had a jet by 25, I think that would be I don't think you'd be upset at your life.
It's still cool.
You might be a little bit disappointed that you didn't have it sooner, but I don't think you'd be, like, too upset.
Yeah, yeah, we'll see. I severely underestimated my ability to make billions by this point. I'm quite a bit behind.
Why don't you just ask Charles?
We'll see. We'll see. Can we talk more about your experience on the app?
Well, I told you about the one bug that I saw.
Yeah.
But other than that, like, the user interface is significantly improved from the last time. Like, the graphics are better.
Mhm.
Just the overall experience is more fluid. Um, I'm trying to remember my terminology for app development, that type of stuff. But, like, the gamification is evident.
Yeah.
Like, you guys have spent time trying to get you to feel something whenever you make some sort of decision.
Yeah, really the goal is to immerse yourself as much as possible inside of an app. So we even have these features like a social media thing where you can friend your people.
I liked that, yes. So I did see that feature, right? So I got John on it this morning because we were doing it together, and, I was like, "You can add friends now," and you had,
Yeah.
like, a link to your Facebook, which I didn't try that, but the fact that you had those, like, that's super cool because
Mhm.
it'll help with the viral component of trying to get more users on.
Yeah, yeah. It's super, I'm super excited for that. And the goal is that it's kind of a social media aspect where you can post on there as well over your different achievements. And when you load into the app, you're kind of being immersed into the world and you travel around all those countries that speak the language over what you're learning. Soon the avatar that you create will be on the map and you'll be able to see your friends on that map as well in the different cities that they're learning in.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
So it'll almost be like the Snapchat maps where you can see where your
Dude,
friends are at.
that's it's so interesting because so much of the inspiration for ChatterBox has been outside of the language learning realm.
Yeah.
So there's certainly things that we've tried on other apps that we think it would be cool to have inside of ours. But if you just kind of keep a general creative mind open for opportunities, then you see these different additions inside of all these different apps that aren't directly related to language learning.
Yeah.
So the maps was inspired by Snapchat, and being able to see your friends on there will come soon. And even things like Mario Kart with Super Mario Bros.
Yeah.
Is uh, you'll have your character run around to all these different levels and different things. That was inspired by Super Mario Bros. Where they run through the tubes and they go down. So it'll hopefully have an animation like that.
That's cool. It seems like you spent a lot of time focusing on the social component of this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, and it's all an aspect of trying to immerse yourself too. So part of it too is I learned Spanish because I was looking at some memes in Spanish, and that helps. So if you can have these essentially social media platform in the language over what you're learning, that may help in seeing your friends post on there and they're different in the language that you're learning, and being able to scroll through that, I think creates a more immersive aspect.
I did see the feed portion where you can upload a picture with a caption.
Yeah.
What do you hope users use that for?
For example, when I went to Spain or something and I had an immersive, authentic experience inside of the language, I think that'd be a cool thing to post on there. But also the progress inside of the app too. If I'm just reached level 10 and these are all the different words I've learned or something, we'll probably implement something into the app that makes an easy way to post that while you're inside of your course.
It'd be cool if you could add on like and maybe you've already done this, but add on like some sort of proximity element to it where
Oh,
even if you're not friended with someone, say you travel to Spain and you've got users that are in Spain and you
mhm.
post and it has the geolocation for where you're at, it pings the other Spain users.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Says Grant Johnson is now in Spain, and that inspires them to, well, should I connect with Grant? Like he's trying to learn Spanish. I'm fluent. I live
Uh-huh.
here. Maybe we should go grab coffee. And
Yeah.
then you take it off the app and in person, develop a deeper relationship, all from the social component of it.
Yeah. What's so nice about ChatterBox is it's essentially a blank canvas and you can implement all these different ideas over it. And learning a language requires so much different aspects of it,
Mhm.
of memorization, but also keeping the motivation and then application of it. So there's so many different features that can fall into these, which makes it so fun to build because although it's one product, there's so many different little innovations inside of it that
Yeah.
keeps it so you're constantly running these ideas inside of your head.
Yeah. Well, something about learning a new language too is that is like, especially once you get older, like into college and after college, like it's a very niche thing and it's hard to find a group of people that are trying to do it at a similar skill set that you are.
Mhm.
And so if you have that social component on there where maybe it recommends users in your area based off their skill level, proficiency, the reason they're using it, restaurants, hospital, whatever,
Mhm.
like finding all of those different ways that you could circle people and put them in a group and introduce them to each other. And that could actually help because when you have a companion alongside with you, you're more likely to stick to something, more
Yeah.
likely to learn that skill.
Yeah, exactly. That's one thing that we're starting to implement is you have a streak on it over the days that you used
Mm.
it, but having friends that can help you keep accountable on that. So maybe you're not the only one that gets notified when your streak's about to run out, but it notifies me to the,
Yeah, that's cool.
yeah, I think that'd be cool.
Do you know what I'm saying though about like it's not even someone you know, like you and I don't know each
Oh,
other,
yeah?
but the app pings me that, hey, there's this guy named Grant Johnson who's level 10 learning it for restaurants, and
Mhm.
I'm level 8 learning it for restaurants. And it's like he's 5 miles away. Do you want to connect?
Yeah, that'd be cool. And the thing is, as well, is I think it's also cool that you're in proximity. But another feature that comes from something outside of the language learning realm is a lot of people learn languages through video games and different things.
Mhm.
So it's not that you have to communicate to that person in when you're in person. You can play games with them over the online. You know,
Yeah.
you can imagine a game similar to Monopoly where you're having to buy and sell things, but you're playing with people and you're communicating in that desired language.
Have you thought about integrating like multiplayer games?
Yeah, that's coming.
That's sweet.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah, well, see, there's so much to build and so little time,
But
but
when you integrate the multiplayer games, are you going to have the chat function where you can actually
Mhm.
talk to the person?
Yeah, that would be the hope.
Wow.
So I I don't we'll see because I don't think we could just take somebody's game like Monopoly and then put it
Right.
in there.
Might be some licensing issues. We'll ask Rob Gerlach.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be cool though, but I think you can get some similar functionality in your own games and even games that we have implemented into the app. For example, we're doing this one where it's kind of a Scrabble type feature where you're having to input the words based off the description. These are all ones that help you whenever you're learning the language. So those you can do solo player, but having these games where you're communicating with people in your target language and having to think about that, I think it's going to be massive.
Yeah, dude, that's super sweet. I really like the social component of getting other people involved in it.
Yeah, it's super fun too. Makes it more enjoyable.
So how do you choose what to work on next? Like you just rolled out this update and you're trying to get to 10,000 users, but here you are. We've just listed off 50 different iterations you could do.
Yeah, something that I think people get worried about with me is that I will just continue to build feature and feature and feature and feature and never try to focus on getting people to use it, which I think is a very accurate. Uh, um,
Analysis.
yeah, that. And so, uh, what I promised myself is whenever it got to a certain whenever I thought it was better than the other applications, then it always makes sense for me to start advertising it because if it's better than the alternatives, then I will be doing people a favor by releasing it.
Mhm.
So that's where we're at now. And I think all these different features will obviously enhance the experience and make it so it's more, uh, so we can hopefully get more users on it. And it's a balance because it's a small team working on it and it's nobody's full-time job. So we'll have to balance all the different features that we want to implement by how much we can think it'll enhance the user's experience and how much time that we put into it. There's some term called like a value prop that some people may be familiar with, and it's like how much value can this bring to the app? How much time is it going to take, and what's your kind of likelihood of success with it? So if you plug it into that equation, then that usually helps us get to priorities.
Yeah. Priorities are a hard thing because, like you said, it's hard to know what's going to get you the biggest payoff. And
Yeah, especially with you people. People are hard to
darn
predict.
people, man.
I know.
If you could just get people to do exactly what you wanted when you wanted them to do it, then life would be easy, right?
Yeah, and extremely boring.
It's extremely boring. Yes, 100%. What else is new with the app or anything like on that kind of topic that you want to throw in there?
I don't know. We'll see. I think as people will use it, the people that we've had inside of our beta program, we've worked with about 50 people that we've gotten one-to-one feedback on. It's an interesting process because about 2 months ago, you had texted me about being on the podcast,
Yeah.
and I said, "Yeah, the app should be released by October 1st, and then we can start doing it." And obviously, it's December 4th or something, and
Yeah.
here we are on the podcast the day of the release. So obviously, some things got in the way there, and that's because I envisioned whenever I got the app out there that it would work perfectly, which I seem to always think, and it never actually happens. So I went through a process over having my brother, he got on the app and it was just a horrible experience for him. And all these things that I thought were self-explanatory because I built it obviously is not whenever it wasn't intuitive at all. So I came back with about 2 pages of notes. And then I went and I spent a week and a half and I got all these 2 pages fixed. And then I had my parents utilize it. And then I came back with about 1 page. And then I had another person in about a half page. And every time it was about halving. And so then for the last week or so, there's been maybe little things with a certain component that come up, but nothing that I thought was critical to the user experience that would stop us from rolling out. So we about 2 months ago on October 1st, I was saying after I got all that pages of feedback, then I was hoping December 1st would be the day. So we did make it around that time.
Yeah.
And I think I've learned my lesson from last time over rolling things out too early because there was a lot of things that needed to be improved with it. And it worked fine in the condition that I had it in, but then people would use it on an Android and they would use it in dark mode. And then you couldn't see the text and different things. All of these edge cases that I didn't account for, but these are all part of the things whenever you learn, it makes it easier for the next iteration of the product and next products.
I have a theory. I don't know if it's my theory or someone else's, but when you think you're done, you're probably only 80% of the way there.
Yeah. One thing too is getting the proof of concept out there is so fast compared to all of the different edge cases because for example, we got the app working and if it was just bare bones, it doesn't take long at all. But then you have to build a login system and then you have to think of every edge case outside of that login system in case somebody wants to put in an email that's not theirs. So then you have to build a verification system. All these different things that are not that fun to build and it's outside of your core product, but are necessary for people to enjoy it.
And it probably takes it's not like a linear progression of how much time it takes to do that last part. Like to get to 90% of the app being completed right for the next rollout might only take half the time. Like the last 50% of the time might be spent on the last 10% of the app.
Yeah. And it's the little things that if they're not there, then it's a horrible experience for the user. But if they are there, nobody thinks about it. Nobody says, thank you for building this verification system. It goes to your email.
Yeah. Thank you for not like selling all of my personal data and like opening up all of these different hazards for me.
Yes. Anytime.
Anytime. Yeah. And the part about you going to get feedback from people too is important because like this is a common communication flaw that I know that I have and a lot of people have is you say something and you're like, this is clear, it's obvious, like let's implement it. You know how to get it done because I just communicated it to you. Or so you think. You think something is obvious, you think something is intuitive, but that's based off your perspective and that there's inherently bias in that. And when you spend so much time in close proximity to a certain thing that you're building, you have all of these other components that are already downloaded into your subconscious, already obvious to you. But when it's a net new person looking at it, everything is just like overwhelming. And there's so many like glaring things that are like, no, I don't know what to do here, here, and here. And you have all these missed assumptions that you didn't see because of your cognitive bias.
Yeah, I think I have trauma from rolling it out to people with that exact reasoning. So when people say that they downloaded the app and then I'm always on edge because I'm like, oh, how was your experience? Because I'm not used to things working for people because it's been 2 months where people have used it and then it's, oh yeah, I wasn't able to log in or I couldn't see the text, all these different things. And now it's pretty cool because I think I'm healing. And now when people utilize the app, they usually have a positive experience. Now we're still in the phase now where there's a little thing, but it's usually just one thing and it's come up for that user and we fix it. And then we usually actually surprise the people with how fast we can fix things as well.
That's solid. Yeah, and I don't know any app that doesn't have bugs too. Like that's probably just something you're going to have to underwrite and accept is there will always be some level of bugs with the system.
Yeah. And we'll do our best to fix them. But as long as we can make it so it's a positive experience for the user and that they return, then obviously it's a great application.
Yeah. Well, before we move on to other topics, is there anything else with the app that you want to hit on?
No, I mean, it may come up as we moved into future things. What's nice is that whenever you spend so much time on it, is that it's very easy to apply things that from different conversations and may remind me of Chatterbox. But yeah, what else do you have in mind?
Let's say, does this remind you of ChatterBox? How are we doing with ice bathing?
Oh,
What's your
whew.
current status? This has been a topic of discussion for us the last 8 episodes.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. What a journey. We can have a lot of things we titled this. But so I bought an ice machine because the tubs themselves, if you were to buy them, they're very expensive. But an ice machine itself, I thought it was $400. It was expensive, but I thought that was much better than spending a couple thousand on an ice bath.
Yep.
So I bought an ice machine, and then I realized it could only store 20 something pounds of ice in it. So that's not adequate.
No,
Adequate.
you need probably 60 pounds to get a good ice bath.
Yeah. So then what I started to do is trying to store it in the freezer, but then I was running out of space in the freezer. So then, and the worst thing too, when you're taking an ice bath, when it's just a moderately cold plunge, then you feel you're just sitting there,
You're like, this is like lukewarm and I'm not really getting any benefit, but here I am all wet.
Yeah,
like,
here in the tub. So I then got a freezer from my dad because he owns a hunting lodge and he has quite a few of those, and he was replacing one, so he said I could have it. That was a big thing to move downstairs, but we got it down there. So now we store up the ice in there. Whenever I think about it, then I usually go down there and take a couple bags and put them in the freezer. And then the cold plunge is outside, but I find a lot of time just using the bathtub on there. But I've been lacking on it a little bit. It's hard because I hate doing it right when I wake up because it puts me in a bad mood. And in the afternoons, if I do it after a certain time of night, then my feet are too cold to sleep. So it's a balance between that. So I should probably start leveraging it more on the weekends. What's hard though is because I have to take a shower after I do it. And then a lot of times though, I shower right when I wake up. So then this is adding another time into it.
Yeah. Now you're showering twice a day and getting wet 3 times a day.
Yeah.
Not good.
Yeah. In your experience, how is it?
I have not been ice bathing here. I just have been going to the Sweat House, the contrast therapy studio.
Yeah, but how is that?
Great. I love doing it. I do it at least once a week. I'm actually heading there after this.
Oh, how fun.
Yeah. But I was going to ask, what's your frequency? How often are you actually getting to it, you think?
Oh, man. I go in spurts where it's probably 2 times a week for a week and then 2 months without it.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, so it's been a while. But I'm honest. I'm an honest guy.
Yeah. You're a very honest guy, a little bit on and off with the cold bath. That's okay.
Yeah.
How is working out life? Just like general update. I have to leave in about 10 minutes. So I just
Okay.
Whatever you want.
Yeah, working out's good. I found on the days that I'm not motivated that the whole gym does not get things done because then I just go and talk to the people because it's an interesting place because a lot of the place I go to, there's a lot of foreigners. So I just go around.
You're
and
sabotaging other people's lifts.
Yeah. Yeah. But I can tell whenever they're wanting to get back to the workout. There's a lot of people in the gym. So I just go around and I find that when I'm unmotivated that the whole gym is less productive. So, but it's going well.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm on the bulk. I weigh 210 right now. I started at 205. At my peak, I was about 213.
Okay.
And now that I've subtracted the coffee, I'm back at 210, but that was after a cold as well. So that was hard. It's tough being sick because you work so hard and then you lose some progress.
And you've got no energy too.
Yeah. Yeah. But things are going well, I think.
That's good. So you're up 5 pounds net.
Yes.
Nice. So what are you going towards?
That's a good question. I think 215 and then maybe going back down to 210.
Do you have any lifting goals that accompany that?
I'm really close to 315 bench.
Seriously?
Really close.
You just won't let me spot you?
That time that you came in, I told Jacob this, and then he's like, "Oh, let's try for it now." And I was so tired and stuff, so I embarrassed myself and was not even close to it. But I think right now I'm probably between 305 and 310. So
that's a good spot, man.
Yeah, I'm getting close.
Have you ever seen the what are the things that people snort? Smelling salts.
Yeah,
have you tried that?
Well, I think last time I was on the podcast, we talked about how I have them at my desk.
Oh,
that's not a common use of it for programming, but I was working a little bit too hard to get that up there to get it before December last year. So I did have that over there. And I do find it's fun to have my friends do it, especially for the first time.
See the reaction?
It is crazy.
Yeah. So, but okay, back to my point though. Have you tried the smelling salts to get you to 315 on bench?
I haven't. I haven't used smelling salts for an actual practical purpose outside of pranking my friends.
I would say I think smelling salts were originally for the gym.
Yeah, and then adapted for pranks. I think they're still used for
They're
lifting.
good for pranks. But I'm just saying, if you properly
Yeah.
caffeinate and then do smelling salts, maybe you got 315 today.
Shoot,
You could have this checked off
this is what
today.
happened last time, and I got real motivated until I got under the bench, and then I embarrassed myself.
There's no time like the present, Grant.
Let's see. I think before the end of December, I'm definitely going to try for 315.
Okay. I want to spot you.
Okay.
You got to text me. We'll make this like a coordinated effort.
All right. I'll try some similar weights to it and let you know how my probability of success.
I'm a really good spotter because you'll be worried if I'm actually going to grab it or not. And so
Yeah,
that
you should
fear
get distracted and fear of death.
that'll motivate you to get the last 10% up.
Yeah.
Like, okay, so if you're at 305 and you need 10 more pounds to go, let's say smelling salts add 5 pounds, caffeine adds 2.5 pounds. The last 2.5 pounds could just come from the fear of death.
That could get us there.
Yeah. Or
Yeah.
maybe we'll have John stand with a kettlebell, like a 20-pound kettlebell, over your stomach. If you don't get it, he's going to drop it.
Yeah.
Because your hands
We
are
could
full
probably
of the
build
bar.
some automated system because I think John's too nice to drop it on me. But if I build the humanoid or something to drop it, then
It's true. Because the humanoid is like, it doesn't care how you feel.
yeah. Another thing that's nice about the humanoid, you just program it and it works how you want it to.
Is it still functioning or did you take it apart?
No, it's decapitated right now. Whenever I was moving in, rip humanoid. Whenever I was moving in, I accidentally hit it on a door or something.
Mm.
So it's there. We could have probably put a decoration. Maybe I should put it up here. Its head.
That reminded me of the Wikipedia entry. The meme said, I think, every man's dream. And it said, early life, rise, success, power, the fall, trial and execution.
Yes, they went through all phases.
It's every man's dream.
Yeah.
And the humanoid has seen that through.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Well, anything that you feel like we've missed that, well, obviously you did the 100-mile thing and I still need to listen to your podcast. So
That was fun.
yeah.
I need you to do an ultra marathon after your bulk.
Oh,
I'm on a silent journey to convince everyone that I care about
can't.
to do an ultra marathon.
sick.
Sick that day?
Yeah.
Can't make it. You got plans that day?
Yeah.
I think it'd be fun actually to get a group of us. You don't have to pay the entry fee. You don't have to train, but just get a group of us like we did that night when you guys paced me.
Uh-huh.
And we just go out and we just say, we're going to do 50 miles tonight.
50 miles.
Because I'm convinced anyone, I've seen my aunt do 50 miles with no training. We did it with her.
Really?
I'm convinced anyone could do 50.
Your aunt's probably some killer athlete then.
Well, I mean, she's a beast, but like, she's not a killer athlete by any means.
Really?
If you're listening to this,
Dude.
Angina, like, no offense, but I think you'd agree with my analysis.
There's going to be a feud at your Christmas this year.
I don't know, man. But what I'm saying is I think we get a group of us and we just make it a core memory, right? Like we just all get together, we get snacks, maybe like we'll have a mobile podcast unit set up where we can record some of the conversation. Maybe it's a YouTube video. Like we just go out and we get flashlights, camel packs, snacks. We make a memory. We spend 12 hours and 4 or 5 of us just knock out 50 together.
Yeah, that sounds so much fun. I'm totally down.
Grant, come on, man. You did 20.
Did I do 20? Well, I did do 20 with you. That was over a long time. I don't know, man. We'll see.
What's your holdup with it? It's been so long since I've had a holdup with it that I don't even remember. Like, what is your holdup?
Well, one thing too is the amount. Obviously, whenever you picture a 100-miler or whatever, you think of the actual race itself. But you did hours and hours of preparation before the race that leads into you being able to perform to that level.
Mm-hmm.
So that part does not sound appealing to me.
But you don't strike me as a guy who likes to limit himself. Like you strike me as someone who believes inherently that you're capable of big things.
Maybe if I trained super, super hard and I focused on becoming a 100-miler runner, then I would have the chance of succeeding at it. You've obviously worked super hard at it and you succeeded with it, but you've had to put so much hours into it.
But you can do 50 without training.
And that's hours that I'm not spent at the salsa dance for.
Well, but this is what I'm saying. I don't need you to train at all, Grant. All I need is you to have enough courage for 12 hours to go out there with me.
When did 50 come from? I feel like I should be pressured into a marathon or something first.
No, because the thing about a marathon is if you're willing to do a marathon, you can do 50.
No, that's double, man. That's almost double.
Well, it's 48%, but you can do it. Like, it's not bad.
I'll meet you at the finish line. You just won't see me run mine, and I'll probably be in the car.
Okay, we're going to get... Here's what we're going to do. You, me, John is a really hard sell. I know you're a hard sell, but John's a really hard sell. Maybe John and Rob Gerlach.
Oh, man.
And we're just going to crank it out. We can walk. I don't care if we walk the whole thing. You'll feel so good after. And wear a ChatterBox outfit.
Yeah,
It'll be
run for ChatterBox.
It'll be a viral marketing effort.
Maybe we can watch ads the whole time while we run.
We'll put a QR code on your back.
Yeah, for all the people that see us while we're running our 50-miler.
In the middle of the night.
Yeah.
Out in the country. Okay. Well, Grant, thanks for coming back on, man. I appreciate you making time. Congratulations on all the progress. You're killing it, dude.
It's a pleasure, Jacob. Thank you for having me.
Where people will find you, by the way. I need to make sure that they can connect with you and download ChatterBox and everything.
Well, it's ChatterBox Language Learning if you want to search it up on the iOS or App Store. Definitely try it out and let me know what you think. Send me a message if you have any feedback for it. A lot of the people are surprised because we take any feedback and we pretty much implement it within a day or two. As far as social media goes, ChatterBox, you can find that on social media as well. But my personal ones are Grant Johnson Creates on all platforms.
Awesome. And you can find me at Jacob O'Connor. The podcast is at Real Period Conversations. If you enjoyed this episode, please make sure to share it with a friend. Grant, go set up that new computer, man.
Thank you.
Have a good one.